everybody, it's your girl BondyBlue, and I am here to announce that I am teaming up with Reset by Design Wellness, a travel and wellness brand that focuses on empowering Black women like you and I, girl. And I am so excited because I have been wanting to go to Africa for forever, and I am finally getting that opportunity with this upcoming Heritage and Reset Wellness Retreat in Ghana. It's going down, y'all, in November 1st through the 9th, 9 days, 8 nights. It's going to be 2 different locations when we're on this trip. This is all inclusive. It's going to come with so many benefits, including an African ancestry test. There's going to be cooking classes, a boat cruise. There's going to be an opportunity to engage, to rejuvenate, to connect with one another, to connect with our ancestors. I am so excited about this, and I'm even more excited that some of my members will be coming along and we can experience Africa together, because this will be my first time. So I am so excited about this. I can't wait to go, and I hope that you guys will sign up. The link is down below in the description box. Don't worry, girl, I will be reminding y'all about this, so y'all might get tired of me talking about it, but that's okay, because it is important for us to all travel and have these amazing experiences, and some of them, girl, we need to have together. So go ahead down below in the description box, book it. Come on in, come on in, come on in, not come on in, not come. Sorry, y'all know I'm weird, whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video, right?
Hey everybody, hold up, girl, hold up. Let me pull my mic closer. Hey everybody, I hope y'all are having a beautiful Saturday out there. Girl, we about to get into Now That We're Grown Enough. I am not gonna lie, I was extremely triggered watching this movie. And y'all, this always happens whenever I sit back to watch a movie for Now That We're Grown. I'm always seeing things or feeling things or becoming aware of why I particularly will watch a specific movie. And I, for some reason, love me a movie where a woman is being abused and she gets free. I don't know why, but girl, oh wait, no. Girl, let's get it together. Hey. Hey girl, what's going on? Hi, guys and girls. Okay, girls and guys, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing good. Hi. Girl, I made sure I went to the gym. Okay, I got it in. I wanted to make sure I came to y'all earlier on this good Saturday, because I know some of y'all are at work. Some of y'all are cleaning y'all houses today. So I wanted to give y'all a good Now That We're Grown to help get you through your Saturday, girl. Okay. And I'm super duper excited because, like I said, this movie absolutely touched on something inside of me. And the one thing that I really, really tapped into this time around, watching enough that I didn't all of the other times, is that I was the little girl. Yeah. And I just want to be clear when I say this. My dad was not this bad. Because y'all know I talk about my dad all the time, because he was really like the person that showed me what men look like all the good and the bad, what men look like, what real men look like, what some of their issues are, what they struggle through, what successful men have a hard time with dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Their anger issues, their control issues. A lot of the times they are so successful because of a level of determination and delusion that it takes to acquire something that's hard to get, the lifestyle that's hard to get. You know what I'm saying? And my dad was a very similar personality. He was not this bad. I'll say it again. Okay. But I will say when Slim got punched in the face, that was triggering. I'll say when you're a little girl and you realize what's happening, but you feel powerless, and you just kind of disassociate and you have no idea what's really going on. You're feeling it, but you don't really understand what's going on. So this movie is super triggering for me. Okay. So I want y'all to know that I love y'all. Okay, because I really could have done half plenty in my sleep and had a good old time, girl. But I saw that this was the one that you guys liked the most. So this is the one that I wanted to give to y'all. Okay. Let me read this super chat. Hi. It looks like Bondi look like she smell like cocoa butter and cinnamon. Oh, girl. I don't smell like cocoa butter and cinnamon. I'm smelling kind of like citrusy and sweet today, and it's because of the Sia magnetic the money, it's an oil. It's an oil. I'm gonna show y'all on Instagram. I think I showed y'all on Instagram already, but it just, it's supposed to, like, bring my manifestations, which are already happening. But girl, okay, we could still use more money around here. So we're trying to get a pool. Okay, it's hot as fuck. Me and my husband want a pool. Okay, and pools cost money. So we're trying. We're manifesting so we can get this pool, amongst other things around here, child. But I swear for God, we want to get a pool. It's hot. Okay. But yes, y'all, thank you, T. Ronnie, for the super chat. Hey, Bondi, are you going to talk about For Nikki Van from Black Ink Chicago? Anxious to hear your take. Honey, thank you for the super chat. I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. If there's a post on Instagram or on Twitter, add me in it and I'll check into it later. Thank you for that. So let's go ahead and get into enough, because I have a massage at 3:00 and I need to be done with this at least by 2:15. Okay. And we know how I can pontificate and go on and on, girl, especially when a movie triggers me. Okay. So let's go ahead into it. Okay. Let's get into it. So first of all, Slim, Jennifer Lopez is at the height of her success to me at this time. This is a number one album on the 6th. Then following, I think, another high charting album with Money Can't Buy Me Love. Is that the one? Y'all, that's when she started fucking with Diddy and everything was gold. Okay. We went from, being real Latina and poppy with a little hip hop because we from New York or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Girl, On the 6th was my album. Okay. I listened to On the 6th all the time when it came out. I'm still a huge J-Lo fan. But yes, Love Don't Cost a Thing. Thank you. That was the second album she came out with. So this is like right during the time where J-Lo's music is doing well and she's doing all of these movies. And this is one of her absolute best movies. Okay. I don't know why. Okay. Listen, J-Lo is not the best singer. Please don't get me wrong. But the On the 6th album was so beautifully produced. Like the tracks on that album, the flow of it, the feel of it, the video, If You Had My Love, really set it off for me. Like that was literally one of the best videos of that year. And it was her in a damn see-through shower. Like, I don't even understand. But I remember when I was a kid, it was the shit. Okay. So I just want everybody to get you got to also understand where J-Lo was in her career when this movie came out, because it really adds to certain things, like her character, Slim. Y'all, Slim is extremely attractive. Okay. Her nickname is Slim, but we all know that J-Lo is known for being thick-witted. Okay. Ever since Salinas, she's been known for being thick-witted. And girl, this was real good J-Lo body. She had to train for this. You know what I'm saying? So this was real good J-Lo body, girl. Okay. So her being this really attractive, poppin' ass waitress at a Greasy Spoon diner, okay, is something interesting within itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a diamond in the rough. Okay. And I feel like it's because of who she really is, her being put in this setting. It was crazy the way these men devalued her and degraded her. And I'm specifically talking about Mitch and Robbie. We're going to get to it. But the way they saw her as being this waitress, but still, Mitch put forth extreme fucking effort to get this woman who is just a waitress, hasn't graduated college, is struggling. Like, through the first scene in the diner, we see her moving around, getting little to no tips, talking about what she might want to do with her life to get out of this greasy spoon restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So it absolutely kind of shows you how, no matter how uneducated, how lower class a woman can be, a man with everything at his disposal will try extremely hard to procure her. So that should let you know really how men see women. Because if she really ain't nothing, if she really is just some dumb waitress that you was trying to smash, why even employ a plot? Why even employ a scam? Why would you think it required all of that to lay this woman? So I just want y'all to pay attention to the way he degraded her, but put forth mad effort to get her. Okay? Just pay attention to that. Okay? Yes. Love bombing, but also making her think that she's not as valuable as she really is. That's the thing for me. And what I'm really starting to see is how much the issues that men and women have are because men are trying to continue to convince women that they're not as valuable as they really are to men. Okay? They really make you feel like you need them. But the truth of the matter is, you can be living in a pillbox apartment, working at a greasy spoon diner, but minding your fucking business. And a man will be orchestrating a full-blown fucking plot just a few. Think about that. Think about the self-worth you should actually have when somebody who essentially has everything that they could ask for, they can get any woman. But here they are, plotting on you. Do you hear me, women? Okay. So Slim is cute, popping waitress at somewhat I'm sorry, my nose got messed up. At somewhat of a greasy spoon called the Red Car Diner. Slim is thinking about going back to school because the pay at the diner is not cutting it. A guy comes in with a single rose and a book. He's trying to look romantic and smart, but it's given you're waiting for a date you met online. That's what it's given. Slim unenthusiastically goes over to his table and asks what you need. What's going on? What can I get you? Okay. You want some water? Like, I'll get you a menu. Okay. And then he asked for her real name because obviously Slim is not her real name. We also never find out her real name this entire movie. Okay. Which made me wonder what she might have really been running from the very beginning to never, you know what I'm saying? It makes me feel like you've had abusive relationships in the past if you don't want to give out your real name. She already has her defenses up. I don't know if anybody pays attention to that, but Slim already has her defenses up. Peep how her community betrays her. Okay. Slim unenthusiastically goes over to his table. He asks for her real name. He's flirting with her, but she's not interested. Her homegirl, Jenny, okay, points out how he was there at the diner yesterday. And he's a major piece of cake and a piece of pie, a piece of ass. That's what they say to each other. Piece of cake, piece of pie, piece of ass. And she's like, he's a major piece of pie. Jenny even goes so far as to say that he's prettier than Slim, which is fucking ridiculous. Okay? No, like, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, you should never, ever, ever give a man any energy or attention that could possibly think he's prettier than you. It's just not good business for any woman to do. Okay? He's flirting with her, but she is not interesting. So she's not interested, right? Hold up. Like I said, Jenny even goes as far as to say he's prettier than Slim. It's given that Slim had good instincts, but her friend convinced her to ignore her instincts because the friend is probably more thirsty for attention than Slim. And she's living vicariously through Slim because Slim gets the attention. So you see that? A woman that is picking up, her name is, no. I don't think her real name was Erin. I think that was a name that she came up with when they moved to the next place. Okay? I'm just saying, because why would she go by her original name if her original name is on her real ID? Oh boy, could find her. So that was a name that she came up with, but we'll get to that. So yeah. Slim goes back to the table, gives him an inch by asking who the rose is for. And the only reason she does that is because Jenny was like, girl, go talk to him. And I really feel like as women, we should ignore when our friends do that. Like, I'm sorry, please ignore when your friends do that to you. If you are feeling something ain't quite right and your homegirl who you know is thirsty, this is why you have to admit things to yourself. This is why you got to be real with yourself. Even if you don't want to hurt your friend's feelings, but you know she fucking thirsty, okay? You cannot take dating advice from someone who you already know is thirsty. And Jenny is giving thirsty. Okay. And Jenny is thirsty because Jenny like has two small boys, I believe, because once we saw her kids at the end of the movie, they were both older than Gracie, which made me feel like she had those kids at this time and they were probably really, really young. So you're a single mom of two boys and you out here pushing your friend to go and talk to a man because you thirsty for a man yourself. Okay. So she gives him an inch by asking who the rose is for. He doesn't answer, so she walks away. Then he says to her, it's for you. The guy in the booth behind him, okay, turns around and asks, how much did you settle on? At this point, we're all confused, right? Slim was this close to being caught, right? Because she smiled. She smiled. And then the guy turns around. Y'all, this is very, very smart. Pay attention to the moment that they waited, okay? That's how you know these men really study women and the psychology of a woman. They really study you because they knew that we should set her up to feel good. Okay, first you tell her that, you ignore her when she asks who it's for. So that annoys her, okay? So she walks away. Then right before she gives up on it, you say it's for you. Now you took her back up. Then the dude turns around and lets her and everybody else know that this guy who has this rose and is trying to hit on her made a $200 bet on her to see if he would be able to sleep with her. The new guy hems up the dude with the rose in the book, and Slim asks, well, what was she worth? And he says 200. But now that I've met you, that was way too high. So let me get this straight. You were plotting on her. Your plot was foiled. And then you turned around and degrade her by telling her she wasn't worth the $200 you were betting on her. As if she did something to you. Y'all, that's insane. Like the mentality of that is insane. So when you really recognize that this was a plot from the very beginning, you peep how they keep doing this. Pay attention to whenever your partner, whoever you're into, dating, you're with, take you on emotional roller coasters like that. That's intentional. You think it's not intentional. You think it's just the ebbs and flows of a person's personality or good days versus bad days. But no, it's very intentional to make you emotionally unstable by degrading you, then putting you on a pedestal, then degrading you, then putting you on a pedestal. It means you are never balanced in how you feel about yourself or how you feel this person is going to interact with you, which makes you question yourself. It is literal brainwashing. Fatty girl, thank you for the super chat. Erin was her hiding name because she had named her daughter. It was Princess Elizabeth to protect them. Love you, sis. Nola, baby. Yeah, come on. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry, I mean Queen Elizabeth was the end name for Gracie. Yes, okay, girl. Yes, we are here. We understand. Okay, child, it's a little confusing. That's okay with the names and stuff. Okay, so the guy walks out. He was like, you know, she was like, well, thank you for saying something. And Mitch is like, I would have felt bad if I didn't say anything. Throws the tip on the table and go ahead and leave, which shows her he's not pressed, right? Manipulation. He's acting like he's not pressed, but you're really creating an entire scam and plot. It's giving pressed, okay? But he walks away and look at Jenny. She looks to Jenny and Jenny's like, go after him. Girl, go. Okay? Child, this is why sometimes you got to just sit back and let your friend choose for herself if that's a road she want to take, because she was still apprehensive. Again, having her defenses up, but her friend convincing her that she should go run after some damn man instead of going about her day like she was going to. Oh, girl, what you say? Yes, Bondy. This happened to me in Ghana when this man approached me and I wasn't interested. My ex-friend heard the man UK accent. She gave him my number because she was thirsty and lived through me. Girl, enough to have that nigga stalking you. Like, don't do that. That's I don't like that. That's an invasion of privacy. But you cannot be my friend after that. Like, And then I would have had to tell her, ma'am, listen, I know you thirsty and everything, but I'm not. So do me a favor. If somebody is checking for me and I ain't checking for them and you checking for them, you try to fuck them. But please don't throw them on me. I'm not interested. Respect my boundaries, people. Okay? So they get married. His parents pay for the wedding because, as we find out from Phil was her boss and the cook at the diner. He's a father figure to her. He gave her away, and he explains to Mitch's parents, who are obviously rich, that Slim's father ran off when she was 2, and her mama passed away, I believe, when she was in college. Okay? So his parents are happy to have paid for the wedding. Slim is asking him while they dance if he loves her, and he says, Pay attention to when people cannot vocalize and clearly express their love for you. Pay attention to that. That's a red flag for me, okay? And I'm not just using this moment as an example. I'm also thinking about Tisha and Marceau from that season that they went to Vegas and they were at the chapel and he refused to tell her he loved her in front of everybody. That's a red flag for me. It's almost as if you don't want to really say something you don't mean, even though you say shit you don't mean all the time. She's safe with him. That's what he tells her. You're safe with me, Slim, and it's okay to be happy. Yeah, I don't like that. That's a red flag to me too. Now that we know what we know, when he told her she was safe and it's okay for her to be happy, the extra convincing to let her defenses down. The fact that you recognize that she still has defenses. She's asking you if you love her because there's still some type of disconnect. That's why she's asking. She's not just asking because they just got married and she wants to hear him say he loves her. That's not what that's about. You ask that question because on some level, you're still wondering. And you think that's the natural thing because men should have some type of, men are very guarded. So essentially, you will feel like they're not giving themselves 100% to you. Like it's a feeling that I really can't even describe, but that's what I'll say. It feels like they're not giving 100% of themselves to you. They're cutting you off from some part of themselves and you can feel it. But I feel like sometimes you can only really feel it if you've been in relationships with people that are open and in it with you. When you are in a relationship with somebody that's not withholding from you, and then you move to somebody that does withhold from you, you can really feel the difference, okay? And so I feel like Mitch was withholding, but because she didn't have a point of reference, she couldn't really tell, right? So He's telling her to let her defenses down. She can be happy. Meanwhile, Jenny is over there dancing with Slim's best friend slash ex-boyfriend from college. She had to quit college because she couldn't afford it. I think her mom got sick and passed away. Her boss at the diner, like I said, gave her away, comes over to she and Mitch, gives him a little money we know he doesn't need. Mitch pretends to not condescending, as a condescending energy that he's trying to control. He sees himself as a father figure to her, and Mitch then says to Slim, he really loves you. Something about that, now that I'm watching it back, whenever men want to abuse women, they like to make sure that there are no men or no powerful men that can protect the woman that they're planning to abuse. She can't have people that can fight on her behalf. And I feel like, oh yeah, he really loves you. He's a great father figure, but he's not rich. So the access that you have, he can't compete with. And he clocked that. So that made him feel good. That's what he loves you. That moment, yeah, isolation is key for abuse. Exactly. So it definitely was given. He clocked the fact that, yeah, father figure, he really loves you. But if I have to squash him, I can. He's an immigrant and he doesn't have as much money as I have. Period. Mitch asks if she's going to give him babies. And she says yes. And we already know what that's about. He has to hurry up and put kids in her because that is the control factor. That is the thing that will keep her once the abuse starts. That's the thing that will make her protect him once the abuse starts, is the fact that he's the father of her child. Just a little commercial right quick, y'all. Make sure y'all like the video. It's 500 people up in here. Make sure y'all like the video. I'm sipping on, this is the Grandmama's Lemon Pound Cake protein shake from Just Move Supplements with almond milk and a banana and a little bit of agave. Girl. After that workout, that's what I needed. Okay, so y'all make sure to go ahead and try the Just Move Supplements brand. Y'all know I'm an affiliate for them. The description is down below. The link is down below in the description box. You got to use my link in order for me to get my little credit for you purchasing. Okay, so y'all make sure y'all get into that because it's really good. They have a whole bunch of good flavors. Chocolate is my favorite, but the lemon pound cake and the buttercream cupcake is everything. And that new apple pie that they just came out with is really good as well. Okay, for me. So let's go ahead and get back into it after that little cute commercial break. Make sure y'all like the video. Okay, so Slim gets pregnant and her rich new husband knocks on a stranger's door asking to buy his house. The man says, "You're crazy." And he says, "Yeah, just think how miserable one determined crazy person can make you. Miserable today, tomorrow, and every day until you sell." The man smiles at Slim because she's standing a little ways behind. And, she's pregnant and she's just standing there. Oh, my husband. Oh, my God. I can't believe him. He's just crazy. Girl, this is a red flag. And the man knew it was a red flag because real recognize real. Or a man can see in another man that thing. Whatever that thing is that you're trying to keep inside of you, that you're not doing that good at keeping inside, that man clocked it. Because he smiled at her, but the way he looked at Mitch let me know that he saw Mitch. But he sold his house to them. Did not warn her that the nigga was crazy, because I feel like this is a part of the problem. If you are a good man, it won't hurt to say, "Ma'am," as y'all are going through the process, see if you can take it to the side. Or I would even say it in front of the nigga. "Ma'am, you're beautiful. You look very happy. But I wish you Godspeed because something is wrong with this man. Have a good day." And then close your door. But the man got scared because Mitch threatened him. Basically, he said, "I can make you miserable every day until you sell the house." So even if you were going to sell the house, you could have slipped that bitch a note in a mailbox or something. Like something. You know what I mean? If you see something, Say something. You ain't gotta jump in front of no gun for no woman you don't know. But a simple, hey, bitch, you know that nigga crazy, right? I mean, do what you will. Because a lot of times they won't believe you anyway. But I think sometimes if we have enough people that are pointing it out to them along the way, they may not have to wait until they're getting punched in the fucking face to see what's happening. You know what I mean? Because nobody was picking up on it. Nobody was picking up on it. And I feel like that's because everybody's ignoring their intuition. When men like Mitch come around, as much as you want to be charmed by them, you got to feel it on some level that type of intensity in a man can be fucking dangerous. But see, what everybody thinks is that that's good for a man to be dangerous because that means he can protect his family. But you don't think about the fact that, yeah, he may be able to protect his family from the outside world, but he's also the person that is abusing his family. And there's nobody to protect them from him. Like, nobody picks up on that. I was just saying, y'all. Or when they do pick up on it and they realize the woman ain't gonna leave, they just let it be what it is. I definitely have seen that happen. So they have the baby, they move into the house, 5 years goes by, and now he's bored. They've done all of the things. They got married, they had the kid, they bought the house, it's all settled in. Now he's bored. They were at the beach. And you could tell that the shift is starting to happen. Oh, the thing inside is starting to break out. Okay. I know she had to look like, one of those rich, stringy haired white women. She had to look like a white woman. Like she would have never wore that hairstyle herself. Okay. But she had to look like one of these white girls that's trying not to impress anybody. Like they're just cute in their little leggings. Okay. Oh, what is going on? Okay. Okay. Child, you be having to get people out your comments when they be up in here with the weirdness. Okay. Okay, where was I? So yes, he's getting bored. And they were at the beach. And there was a moment where she's playing with the baby and she's all happy and she sees him take a deep breath and look off into the distance. Y'all, it was a very familiar. It was something about it that just felt familiar. It felt familiar. So she's trying to get in the shower with him. And he turns her down, says that he has to go back to work. Her feelings are hurt, obviously. Like, I'm standing here naked and you're turning me down for sex because you have to get back to work? Word? Okay. His phone keeps buzzing. So she calls the number back. And it's some woman with an accent talking about, hello, darling. Slim questions her. But before she hangs up the phone, she admits that her name is Darcel. I'm sorry, and hangs up the phone. She confronts Mitch. And he says, I'm sorry, over and over and over again. And this is the first time. So like a lot of women, she's going to forgive him. What do y'all say to yourselves? What do you say? It's just one mistake. Everything else has been perfect. Yeah, he knows that. So he says, I'm sorry. And he tells her everything's going to be okay, which is what she wanted to hear. He knows what she wants to hear. So he gives it to her. Fast forward, and I love this shot because she hugs him, and in one moment she's relieved, and then in the next moment she's disgusted because she smells Darcel or whoever's perfume on him. He starts to lie, but she tells him, no, that's it, you're caught. I caught you. Then she asks, how many have there been, Mitch? And this is when the switch happens, when he no longer cares about hiding his true self from her. So he says to her, does it matter? He's a man, honey. He has needs. And Darcel is willing to fulfill those needs. And maybe that's best for everybody. She tells him she is not a doormat. She's his wife. I'm your wife. And you cannot do this to me. And then he slaps her. stunned. Can't believe it. Can't ever believe that this man will put his hands on her. Crazy shit, right? And he says, what? I can't hit you? The words. Can't believe he's even saying this shit to her. I can't hit you. Like, what are you, retarded? Like, nigga, what you think? Of course you can't hit me. What's wrong with you? She says, no, you can't. This is really good acting from J-Lo right here, y'all. Okay? And do you know what he does? Pop. There's a very specific punch that men do to women when they're trying not to really level her head off her shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Because when a man punches another man, he leans into the punch with his body. But when a man punches a woman and he knows he's stronger than her, he knows he's about to hurt her, but he doesn't want to hurt her too much. He wants to hit her, but he doesn't want to hit her too hard. So he holds his arm a certain way so that the hit is quick. Bow. It's going to leave the mark, but it's a quick one versus that would knock a bitch out. He wasn't trying to knock her out, just trying to let her know who's in charge here, honey. Because I can just knock you the fuck out when I feel like it. Yeah, that moment was triggering. I've seen that type of punch in person before. Okay? It's not cool, man. It's not cool. She jumps up and he asks, what do you want to fight? There's no contest. I'm a man. He tells her it's his rules because he makes the money. This is why all of the women now are telling these niggas that they have their own money. This is why so many women are always using the money that they make in these relationships. Y'all remember that episode, not the last episode, but the episode before last of Tammy's show? And the little, the white girl is telling him how much money she got and all of that type of shit. And Tammy is like, money is not the most important thing. It's like, yeah, but that's not why she's saying it. She's saying it because when she didn't have the money, she didn't have any power. And now she has the money, so she wants the power. And everybody gets mad at women for this, but they learn this shit from men. That's where they learned to lead with how much money they got, or where they lead with getting money out of you. Because most men are hanging this type of shit over their woman's head. I make the money, so it's my rules. Like, I don't know where y'all missed that at. Everybody that wants some man to be paying all of their bills, this is the part that y'all often think it's not happening, and a lot of the times it is. All of y'all that be talking that shit, oh, I want him to pay all my bills, da-da-da-da. Okay, make sure you have your own money that you can stack, so if you want to leave, you can leave. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if you think regular, degular, schmegular men are not going to take advantage of the power dynamic in their relationships when they are the breadwinner, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. It takes a special type of man to pay all the bills and still respect his wife as if she is his equal, versus feeling like I make the rules because I make the money. That is why a lot of men feel that way. That's why a lot of men feel like, oh, a man should lead. That doesn't come from the Bible. That comes from the history of men hoarding resources and being the only ones that can make money and provide. They were the only ones who could. It was the law. It was the law. Women couldn't have bank accounts. Women couldn't go and purchase certain things without a man. Yeah, those were the laws up until the 70s. The 70s. Which for a lot of us whose brains are still in the 90s, that was only 20 years ago. Okay? The reason why is because there were decades of women not being able to make enough money to take care of themselves and their children. So they stayed in relationships that they were unhappy in, that they were abused in, that they didn't want to be in. And they just lived life miserable until they checked out. You don't know that because you're just a grandbaby. You don't know that because you wasn't around when the shit was really bad. A lot of us come into the world with our grandmothers, when our grandfathers, when everybody's tired from all of the fucking fighting they've been doing their whole life. So yeah, I feel like we got to pay attention to these things. He literally told her, this is the price you pay for having such a good life. This is the price you pay for having such a good life. Remember that. Nothing is free. Remember that. Okay? So now he's going to just tell her he's going to Darcel's instead of hiding it the way he's been doing. He says he'll be back in a few hours. He takes her keys and her license so she can't leave. Then he kisses her on the fucking forehead, which is infuriating because I want to stab you in the face right now, but I can't. And then you gonna kiss me and force affection on me, child. It ain't nothing worse to me than when you mad at somebody and they force affection on you. That shit pisses me off so much. Like, y'all, I can't even tell y'all how annoying that is to me. Forcing affection from people when they're angry. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that's happened to me a lot in my life. And it is literally one of the, yes, stab, stab, stab. How dare you force affection from me when you have just punched me in the face and told me this is the price I pay for having such a good life, as if I don't deserve to live a good life, as if I have to be abused in order to have a good life. Sounds like struggle love, doesn't it? You know how everybody thinks this is just for the black women? It's not. The white girls just aren't telling you. White girls disassociate better than anybody, okay? They disassociate. You could tell they disassociate because they do it with the racism. How you turn a blind eye to a large a large part of your population being killed and abused and hung from trees and discriminated against for decades and decades and decades and decades. You disassociate. You act like you don't see it. Okay? They do that with their own abuse as well. So he leaves. As soon as he leaves, she hears the car start. She takes a deep breath and she goes to pick up the phone. He knocks on the window, scares the shit out of her, and then asks her who she's going to call. And she says, I was going to call your mother and cancel our plans for tomorrow since you done fucked up my face. She didn't say that, but that's what she said. I'm going to cancel plans with your mother. And he says, okay, just know, love is a scary thing. I refuse to live without you. So he's threatening her. He's letting her know that his love for her will kill her if she wants to leave him. He'd rather her die before she leaves him. That's what he's telling her. So now it's life or death in this bitch. She goes to her mother-in-law's anyway, which was never a good idea. Understand something. When a man is this abusive, his parents know. They know who he is, but they're making excuses for him. Trust me, okay? Don't you ever in your fucking life go run into the man's mama that's beating your ass. That's never smart. That's never smart. Because he's literally beating your ass because he's mad at her. Like, no, in some type of way, what he's doing is connected to her. Okay? So she sees her face. She hugs her. She says, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What did you say to him? What did you say? What did you do? Girl, does it fucking matter what I did? Does it matter what I did? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If she didn't put her hands on him first, him punching her, there's nothing she could do that would make that reasonable. There's nothing she could say that would make that reasonable. But this is the understanding that mother-in-law knows exactly who her son is and probably figured it was only a matter of time. So when Slim continues to see her mother-in-law as an ally, she continues to make the same mistake. Learn from these things when they happen the first time. This lady made you feel crazy in that moment when she said that shit to you. What did you say? What did you do? That is when you realize you can't trust her. She's not going to help you. Keep your distance from her ass too. But Slim didn't clock that. She goes to the diner to talk to Jenny. Jenny says men are like landmines. The time varies, but you want them all full of testosterone until they turn around and punch you in the face. And I'm just like, ain't that funny how she got all the fucking good advice? She got all of the fucking good advice. Now that this thing turned out bad for Slim. Almost in some way, I think, trying to absolve herself of pushing Slim on Mitch in the first place. She asked what Jenny would do. And Jenny, this is when Jenny taps in as a good friend and says that she needs to go and file a police report. And Slim gets angry. No, what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not putting the father of my child in jail. Girl, he punched you in your face. He should go to jail. You should not care about putting him in jail when he did not care about punching you in the face. If a man does not care about hitting you or putting his hands on you, please do not make excuses for him in your head that makes you value him and care more for him than he cares for you. Pay attention to that. If he will punch me in my face, I should not care if he goes to jail. Yes, very much Stockholm Syndrome. Yes, very much so. Okay, so Jenny says either you leave, she said either you live this out like you're in some goddamn country western song, or you take Gracie, you take the kid, and you get out. When she goes to get Gracie from school, he's already picked her up, which sends her into a whirlwind of emotion. I'm sure she's extremely scared of him taking that kid from her. Yeah, I was the kid. Early on, when I was very young, I could feel that was a dynamic in my parents' relationship where my mom might have been a little bit more scared to leave at one point because my dad might have used me against her. Because my dad was already somebody that was a single parent and had raised both of his kids. He's somebody that's friends with police officers and judges and lawyers, and he has access to people that can help him get out of a situation or handle a situation in a certain way. Now, this was used to my family's benefit, but this also could have been used against my mother. If she had decided that she wanted to leave and my father decided he wanted to not allow it. Okay? We don't know if that's what would have happened, but I can remember having a lot of anxiety as a kid on Saturdays when my mom would go to work and leave me at home with my dad. It faded over time. Please don't get me wrong, because Saturdays became the day that me and my dad would go to Sam's together. We would watch movies together. So like eventually it became a day where we spent time together, and I started to enjoy being left home sometimes. But there was definitely an anxiety when she would get up on Saturdays and leave me home and not take me to the shop with her. My mom would get up at 8:00 in the morning to be at the shop for 9 when I was a kid. And I'm a kid, y'all. You should want to sleep in on a Saturday. But no, please drop me off. And when I was a kid, it was like, oh, my cousins are going to be there. Or when I'm there, I'm going to see all of the people. And it was just fun being at my mom's shop. My mom had so many people coming in and out of the shop. My grandmother and my grandfather lived on the other side of the shop. Then my uncle and my cousins lived on the other side of the shop once my mom owned the whole house. So I had a lot of fun at my mom's salon on Saturdays. But at the beginning, when I was very young, I remember the anxiety of her leaving me anywhere. And when I was watching this, it kind of came flooding back to me. And it was something I remember, but it's not until you get older and you really start to like look at what was happening that you may not have understood at the time. And then it's like you can put pieces together of why you felt a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And I realize now that I grew up having that anxiety of not wanting to be left at home without her because I didn't feel safe. And my dad took great care of me, y'all, but he was temperamental and he was mean. And I didn't feel comfortable and I didn't feel safe. I felt safe from other people, but I didn't always feel safe with just me and him. By the time I got to about 12, 13, this is the time when 11, 12, 13, this is the time when me and my dad started to develop our own relationship, which was computers and making CDs and music and watching movies and stuff like that. So we had like things that we would start to do together, and my dad would talk to me sometimes. So this is like the time when he's really trying to balance out, and my mom's working a lot and there's a lot of things going on in the family. So their very high level fighting kind of would temper off for a while. But it was a cycle. There would be long spurts of peace, no real arguments, no real screaming and hollering, no punishments for me because I was generally a good kid. But then there would be times where you hear a conversation that starts to get louder and louder and louder. And so then your anxiety starts to go up and up and up. And you just have to like sit there, turn the TV up, close the door, put music on, do something to escape what's happening. And sometimes you can't even escape. Me personally, y'all, and this was another thing, like I had to go and see what was going on because I would feel my presence would cause some type of shift. Not all the time, but sometimes my presence would give my mom an out, would give a, you know what I'm saying? It would make my dad want to calm down, or it might make him want to not do what he would have been more comfortable doing if I wasn't in the room. So a lot of the times when they would get into it, I could not stay in my room. My sister would stay in her room and stay out of it, but I was very young and I would still feel like I needed to go stand in the doorway, or I needed to go let my presence known that I can hear and see what's going on now. Over time, it kind of made me feel like I was helping protect her in some way, and I didn't even realize that that's what I was doing. But now that I think about it, I never stayed in my room. I would try to block it out a little bit, but when it would start to get heightened, I would come into the room. But sometimes the things would happen while I was there. The conversation would start getting there while I was there. And when I got older, I would just stay in my room until it felt like it was getting to a point where, the screams were too much. My dad was like a very like booming voice. So he didn't have to do a lot for you to start to get fucking nervous. You know what I'm saying? So this movie is so triggering for me. Okay, so she gets home. She's looking for him and Gracie. They're not there. She calms down. She calls him. Gracie's in the background, happy, Hey, mommy, we're at the zoo. The elephants are pooing, being a kid, completely oblivious to what's going on. But when he answered the phone, he was like, is this my little croissant? He knew that was Slim, but wanted to make her feel like shit. So he picked up the phone pretending like he thought that she was the side chick. And she was like, no, it's your loaf of bread. Hey, bitch, he doesn't know when they're going to be home. So she has to just sit and wait until he brings her daughter home. Later at dinner, he says she made him nervous when he couldn't get in touch with her that day because he had been calling the house looking for her. Now, he knows she got a cell phone, but he called the house looking for her. It was so he could punish her later. He was going to do it anyway. But it's the type of games they play. He was following her. He knew where she was, but says to her, because he couldn't reach her on the house phone, he was worried. He thought she canceled plans with his mother. Did she have to go crying to the folks down at the Greasy Spoon? So now she knows he was following her, or at least having her followed. He asked her what happened to privacy. She says, I don't know. I guess it's dead along with chivalry and fidelity. He asked if she knows how bad things can get. She says, no, educate me. He says, I'm a determined man, Slim. I wanted you, I got you. I wanted this house, I got this house. I wanted my career, I got my career. I am a man who is and always will be someone who gets what he wants. And I still want you. She can accept it or she can fight it. She says she wants to be happy, and he says, good. She looks at Gracie, and at this moment, Gracie is tuned in. Gracie's tuned in. Gracie's sitting on the floor playing, but Gracie's like 5, going into 6. She's going to remember all of this. I remember shit. I remember a lot. The earlier you're traumatized, the more you remember. Okay? Or the earlier your memory starts. You might block things out, but the earlier you're traumatized, the more whatever consciousness in you starts to, like, I feel like it's a blinking thing. I feel like when you're a baby and you're a toddler, like you're blinking in and out, like you're there, but whoever you become when you get older is kind of coming in and out, because you don't remember it. You know what I'm saying? When you really start to remember things is because you've probably been traumatized at such a young age. It forces whatever the soul that's supposed to come into this body that you're gonna, be as an adult, that soul, I think, is pushed into your body even faster. The consciousness is made aware much sooner when you are traumatized at a young age. And the energy in the room is still the energy in the room. And kids can feel energy. So she was glued in. She knew what was happening. She didn't know what was happening, but she could feel, because the look on her face looked worried. And this is when Slim looks at her and then looks at him. And I think this is the moment that Slim realized that she had to get out, because Gracie is starting to pay attention. So the next day she goes to the police station. She asks what would happen, because she has a friend whose husband is beating her. What would happen if she came here and filed a report? The officer says she would have to file a report, and if there's evidence on her person, he will be arrested. Slim asks what if he has money? He can just bail himself out. The officer says, yeah, that's true. Slim says, so let me get this straight. She comes down here, she files a complaint, he gets arrested, then he gets out. Then what? The officer says, well, she can get a restraining order. And Slim says, okay. And when he comes around, what does she do? Throw it at him? And he says, well, that's when she calls us. And she asks, okay, so what about the kid? Does it protect the kid? He said, there's a kid involved. She says, yeah. He says that the restraining order will not legally bar him from the child if he hasn't been abusive to the child, which makes her realize that he will always have access to her, and he will be able to exact revenge on her for filing a police report if she does it, because it won't keep him from the daughter. And to me, they need to change that law. If a man is physically abusive to his partner, to the mother, he should not be able to see the kids. I don't know why y'all think, oh, he just hit her. What? Like, that's very crazy to me, the way the law works, that if he hasn't hit the kid, but he only hit her, he can still see the kids, as if him hitting her is not a sign that he's abusive and should not have access to the kids, because he can then use the kids to further abuse her. And they don't care about any of that. Look what happened with Mel and Martell. That judge did not care that Martell was stalking Mel. Didn't care about that. She got to have a phone that he can call her on because of the kids, regardless to how he stalks her, calls her over and over again, and follows her out on dates and shit. Yeah, y'all need to change that law because that's real weird to me that the abuse of the partner is not taken into account when it comes to custody. That's insane. In the middle of the night, she tries to run. Jenny, Phil, and Teddy, another one of the employees from the diner, are in a van outside waiting on her. Right before she gets out, he knocks her out and she passes out on the floor. I think he hit her on the back of the head with something. Like I think he grabbed her by her hair, like jacked her, and told her to put Gracie down. And then he knocked her out. And they heard her fall. Whatever broke, they heard it. So they run inside, they break inside his house, and this nigga got a gun with a silencer on it. Phil busts into her house with a bat. I'm like, Jenny, you don't have a gun? Jenny, you're a Caucasian single mother with 2 sons and you don't have a gun in a lockbox somewhere? I'm just saying, because it would have behooved them to go into this man's house with a toolie and not a fucking bat because he had a gun with a silencer on it. So he can shoot you and they won't be able to hear it in the neighborhood. So they won't be able to really put together the chain of events of when somebody got shot. Because he was like, y'all don't understand. Y'all just broke into my house. I can shoot y'all free and clear. I thought y'all were robbers. He tells Phil that he's just a jughead and it will be his word against Mitch's. Child, the fact that his name is Mitch. Okay? And he says they'll find drugs in Slim's car or her purse or her bureau, whatever. Trust me, I will have custody of Gracie by the end of the week. He's already telling them how he can set this up to get custody of their daughter. This is why he wanted her to have kids, because this is the way to control her. Phil picks Gracie up as soon as, because Slim got up and it distracted him. And so Phil picks up Gracie and says, Gracie, wake up. Look at Papa. Look at Papa. Okay. Now, Gracie's old enough to at least understand her dad pointing a gun at her at 6 years old. Right. So if she sees him, that's evidence to prove he's not safe. Right. So he puts the gun down because he doesn't want Gracie to see what he's doing, which I guess at some point, because he's crazy, he would, like, as time was going on, he was losing control of himself because he was crazy. As long as Slim was around, he was able to control his craziness. But once Slim ran and he had to keep trying to find her and he couldn't get to her, that was really unraveling his ass, okay? Because eventually he doesn't even think about those things, doesn't care about those things. All common sense and planning that he had at the beginning of this goes out the window at some point because he's fucking losing it, okay? So they were able to get out the house by making Gracie look at him the whole time that they, get Slim and they get out of the house, all right? They go to a hotel. They go to an expensive hotel the first night. And when she tries to go to the ATM the next day, her card is invalid because he's frozen all of her accounts. So she ends up at a motel. All the motels look alike. Jenny calls about going to a shelter. And Slim says no, she doesn't want to cause Gracie any more trauma or taint her anymore by taking her to a shelter around a whole bunch of people that could, possibly scare her even more, right? When she hangs up the phone, it rings again and she thinks it's Jenny calling her back, but it's Mitch. Once again, giving a long, drawn-out, scary speech about how he's found her and, you don't want Gracie to be tainted, right? Which lets her know he's close enough to hear her conversation. So she starts packing her shit while he's on the phone. When she hangs the phone up, he starts breaking the door down. She gets Gracie. She jumps out of the window. She's able to lock the window and she gets away. The next day, we see Phil take her to the airport and they pay cash this time to fly her. I think she went to Seattle. She went to Seattle to see the ex-boyfriend / best friend, Joe. Okay. And Seattle's really pretty. Okay. Gracie likes it. It sparkles. That's what she said. Y'all, she's so cute. So they get to his house and Mitch somehow figured out where she was And I guess because she used her ID to get on the plane, and he has friends in the police department that I guess can look up who, look up if her name pops up on any of the databases on any of the plane receipts for who's flying out. So I'm guessing that's how he figured out that she flew there. Anyway, but yeah, somehow he sends 3 do dirt niggas to Joe's house, calling themselves the FBI with a search warrant. When he asked for the search warrant, they didn't give it to him, but they bust into his house. They look through all of his stuff. They destroy his stuff. Okay, Slim and Gracie are hiding in a vent under a window seat. They threaten him and destroy his sofa. He doesn't, they threaten him, destroy his sofa, and then they leave. When they leave, Mitch calls with a message for Slim. He tells Joe 2 words, lug nuts. Just think about it. You're driving on the freeway and all of a sudden your brakes don't work. God can go crazy thinking about all the little things that can happen. Like basically threatening him. Sitting there watching the game and lackadaisically threatening to kill this man if he continues to help Slim. So this is more, further isolation. Okay? Do they think Joe won't sue? Joe probably, y'all believe it or not, a lot of regular people don't feel like going through all of that. They don't feel like going through all of that. They just want it to be over. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you got to remember a lot of the times when people don't press charges, when they don't go to the police, because they just want it to be over. Thank you, Courtney, for the super chat. Would you consider doing this series, but review books? Maybe one day. It just takes longer to get through books than it does to get through movies, which is why I haven't done it. Thank you, Honey C, for becoming a member, love. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Maggie, thank you for the super chat. Where can I find your workout teacher? Her name is Kiara LaShae on Instagram, but you can find her at ifyoucanmove.com. That's also, I believe, down in the description box. Ifyoucanmove.com. Spelled exactly, as it should be. Hey, pretty kitty. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for this, Bonnie. This movie was the truth. I remember watching it with my mom when I was like 19 and her saying literally everything you're saying. Ciao. Thank you, Jessica. Sending so much love. You are a light. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Make sure y'all like the video. Okay. So Slim goes to see her deadbeat dad, Jupiter. Okay. He asked, when is her birthday again? She says, you are my father, Jupiter. I wrote you like 20 times. And even after mom died, you still wouldn't answer. I had to bury her with no money. That was fun. He says, well, I didn't kill her. Y'all, this is the part of the movie that really annoys me, because to me, the nigga would be dead to me. I wouldn't go to him for help. Like, even if I was in my last resort, I would not go to him for help. I just wouldn't have. Because what type of man are you that you didn't even answer the phone or write back when she called when her mom died? You're rich. You have a lot of money. You know you were with that woman. You know her child was yours. You left her. The least you could have did was sent some damn money through Western Union for the funeral once you got somebody to, verify. But you didn't give a fuck enough to, even though you had all of that money. He says that at least 6 people have pretended to be his long lost kid ever since he did an issue of Forbes that he was in. All proud of himself, fucking asshole. He asked if she's there for money, and she says, no, I'm here so you can meet your granddaughter. And then she says, and yes, we need money to survive. He says that he's had at least 5 kids since 1968. Anybody could be his kid. He tells her he will give her what he gave the other one, $6 for a sandwich. He'll make it $12 because she brought the kid. It was a nice touch. She had a ring around her neck on a necklace that I believe was her mother's, that he gave to the mother. So she snatches the ring off of her neck and gives it to him and says, I think this used to belong to you. Why don't you pawn it since you're so hard up? And then she walks out, which shows that she had more dignity than I guess he was expecting from her. He looked at the ring and then walked out. He knew who she was. Fuck out of here. Slim is sitting on some steps with Gracie crying, and her daughter tells her, Mommy, don't cry. And she hugs her. And you can tell that this is what Slim needed to pick herself up in a moment. And it was her little girl looking to her like, Mommy, don't cry. Triggering as fuck. Like when you grew up being Slim married her dad. Actually, she married somebody even worse than her dad. But basically, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, you know. But it was triggering for me when her daughter did that, because it's basically like your little girl who you're supposed to be taking care of becomes an emotional support blanket for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not on purpose, but that's what your little girl knows to do. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they go to Michigan, where Phil has some other immigrant friends that have a boarding house, and they let her and Gracie stay at the boarding house. Then after some time, she receives a letter from Phil, but it was actually from Jupiter. Jupiter sent it to the diner, and then Phil sent it to where she was. And he said in the letter, 3 men came to his office and threatened to kill him if he helped her in any way. This piqued his interest. So he sent her a whole bunch of money and said if she needs more to leave word at his office. And I was like, well, thank you for coming in and doing something. But ain't it something that his competition with another ain't shit nigga was the only thing that made him want to do what was right? It reminds me of this post I saw yesterday about a man that had left his girlfriend when she got pregnant. He didn't want to be a dad. He wasn't ready to be a dad, so he left her. Fast forward 5 years later, he has a girlfriend with the kid, goes to the kid's graduation with his girlfriend, and sees his ex and his son that looks exactly like him on stage. And the ex now is married with a husband, and the stepdaddy is there for the son. And, you know, that's the daddy as far as, you know, everybody's concerned here. And now he's mad and is talking about, that's my son. That's my kid. Now he mad. Got his ass knocked out and everything at them kids' graduation. Okay? But now he wants to destroy their relationship, and he wants a relationship with his son. Now, you wasn't worrying about your son. You didn't give a fuck about your son until you saw that woman with another man. And this reminds me of that. You didn't give a fuck about your daughter or your grandchild until a man that threatened you came looking for her. And that piqued your interest because you ain't about to be threatened by no nigga, because you the big bad around your way. So you are going to help her to spite him. Not because you care about her, but to spite him. Wow. I'm not saying don't take the money. She should absolutely take the money. That was a blessing that the Lord used that man's, egomaniacal disposition to help her. But I wouldn't be trying to have a relationship with that nigga. I would just use him and go on about my way like she did. Okay? But anyway, so she gets a house. They decorate it. Gracie gets to paint her room. She booby traps the house, so that if he finds her, she can get out. She explains to Gracie about their new names. Hers is Erin, and Gracie says her new name will be Queen Elizabeth. Okay, she enrolls her in school, and one Sunday they're driving to a payphone out of town, and y'all, Gracie's so cute. She was like, I like talking to Grandma, but do we have to drive every Sunday for 55 hours just to get to some phone booth? I love the way that little girl said that shit. That was hilarious. And her mom was like, stop begging. You like a dog. Okay? Because she wanted to, I think she wanted to talk to daddy. She was like, can we call daddy this time? And to me, Slim, this is when you explain to your daughter that her dad isn't safe. I don't know why women so often try to hide their children from the truth, but I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea in any way, shape, or form to be running all over the fucking country because a man is trying to kill you and you're going to let her believe that he's a good guy just because he's her dad. Yeah, no. You should have warned her. This was the moment, Slim, to have the conversation with your daughter and explain why y'all are running and what's going on to her so that she understands that I know we thought daddy was a good guy, but daddy's not a good guy. And we can't talk to daddy because then daddy will find us and take you away from me. You have to, like, I feel like she should have explained that to her kid because she put herself in harm's way. So she goes to talk to the mother-in-law, who's warning Slim that this is all leading up to a custody battle, and Slim needs to call Mitch and let him talk to Gracie so that she can calm him down. The mama is still advocating for Mitch, which lets us know that she can't be trusted. Why are you even going out of town to talk to her, to let her talk to Gracie? Fuck her. Like, this is why I said that Slim wasn't paying attention when she first went to her mother-in-law and she asked her, what has she done to get punched in the fucking face? Girl, this lady does not care about you. This lady only cares about her son. Then she tries to guilt Slim. Slim, you of all people know what it's like to grow up without a father. Ma'am, your son is trying to fucking kill me. He should not be a father. Why do you think it's like he's a safe person, even though he's beating my ass and chasing me around the country? Why do you think he's safe for my daughter when he's doing this to me? That's insane, y'all. You want her to have an abusive father? It's better to have an abusive father than none at all? No. It's better to have no father at all. I'm sorry. It is better to be a single parent and provide peace and stability for your child than to be in a bigger house with a crazy nigga that nobody feels safe with. Sorry. Sorry. Just gotta keep it a buck. It's not better. The fuck? Nigga trying to kill her. And you sitting up there talking about, you know what it's like not to have a dad. Girl, what? She hangs up on her. Gracie is looking sad. And so Slim continuing to be stupid. And this is what I'm saying. Slim is too much in her heart. You gotta be in your head. You gotta be in your head, y'all. You have got to get, like, when people pull on your heartstrings in this way, you have got to push that shit away from you. You have got to use your head first. Your daughter doesn't know any better. She's going to be sad anyway. She called this nigga and let Gracie talk to her. The first thing he does is uses this as an opportunity to find out where they are. Oh, where have you guys been? Gracie's like, we've been to Chicago. And then Slim takes the phone and says, no questions or it ends here. Hands the phone back to Gracie. He doesn't know that she handed the phone back to Gracie. So now Gracie can hear him saying, bitch, she's my daughter, and you can't tell me how to fucking speak to her. Put Gracie back on a damn phone. Gracie heard all of this. Slim says, just tell daddy bye, and you'll talk to him later. And Gracie is now sad and says, bye, daddy. And then she, they hang the phone up. He's on the phone. Gracie, I'm sorry, honey. Hung the phone up. We're not even paying attention no more. And then Slim says, I'm sorry, honey. Mommy's stupid. It's her fault. It's my fault. Like, yeah, bitch, it is your fault. Okay? Because she was like, I'm really sad now. Y'all, that broke my heart when that little girl said that. I'm really sad now. Thinking, talking to this crazy nigga was supposed to be good for her. He's not good for her. It doesn't matter that he's her dad. He punched you in the face. He's not a safe father. He's not. He's gonna abuse her too. especially when she gets older and becomes a grown woman. He's going to abuse her too, because he abuses women. It doesn't matter if it's his daughter. Mitch goes to see his police homeboy, Robbie. And this is when we realize that it was all a fucking scam. It was all a plot. Robbie is the guy who was at the diner at the very beginning of the movie. And he says, you know, because they looking for Slim. Okay. They got police looking at a fucking map trying to find Slim. Same guy from the diner at the beginning of the movie. It was a scam that they ran on women all the time, apparently. Robbie can't figure out why he decided to marry the bitch. Mitch says she's not a bitch. Robbie says, well, she's a stupid waitress that calls your mom and then calls you like she's stupid. And he says she's not stupid. She thinks what everyone thinks, that if you keep the call short, it can't be traced. Robbie asks, well, because Robbie, obviously, he-man, woman, hating ass motherfucker. Robbie asks, well, why her? He says, well, maybe it's love. And then he laughs and says, yeah, I know what that means. Meaning that she was really good in bed. That's what that means. He really liked her coochie. Her coochie was a bop. Okay. And so he decided to marry her because he liked her that much. But it's not love. This nigga isn't capable of love. So he says to Mitch, if you're smart, you will forget about her. Mitch says, I can't do that. She kidnapped my kid. Robbie closes the door and says, how many times do I have to go there? It's not kidnapping. It's called parenting. Like, bruh, you're delusional. His homeboy is letting him know you're acting delusional. The homeboy is too weak to fight back. And obviously, Mitch has some information about whatever illegalities that Robbie has going on in that police department. He tells him, you got to go get her this time. Don't send any more of your big brute FBI do dirt niggas to her. Don't send no more of them, because she'll see them coming and she'll run. It needs to be you, because you recognize her voice and you know who she is. And he says, it's you, Robbie, or it's you. Threatening him, basically. So this is why I can't stand niggas, because y'all know y'all homeboys ain't shit, but it's all good when they doing it to women until they start doing it to your ass. Now Robbie has a best friend that's threatening to get him fired from his job if he doesn't continue to put his job at risk, chasing this man's abuse victim wife around the damn country, employing all of his cop homeboys to help. Child, it's a conspiracy. Anyway, Slim is tired of running. Gracie says that she thinks that she misses Daddy. And Slim says, Daddy yells at me, Toots. It was that simple. It was that simple. She said, Daddy yells at me, Toots. And she says, well, you miss somebody. And so she has Joe to come and see her. Robbie is following Joe. They discuss the custody case coming up in a couple of months. Joe says, but they favor the mother. And she says, yeah, but he has a lot of money. People always think the court system favors the mother. But in all honesty, not all the time. If the man has more money and more access, if the judge is misogynistic or pick me, yeah, it doesn't matter. As we saw in Mel and Martell's case, Mel has more money than Martell. But still, in that case, what happened? You have a judge that says that Mel doesn't care about her kids as much as Martell does. It's like, girl, you can't watch that fucking show with any common sense as a judge and feel that way. Like, to me, for her to say that, I don't even think you should be a judge, because you're too digmatized and male-centered to have any really good judge of character. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if that was your assessment of Mel and Martell as a judge, you don't need to be a judge. You feel me? But y'all voted her in. She's there. Ain't no getting her off, at least not for that type of situation. So that's why you cannot count on the fact that, judges are going to care about the mother or favor the mother. Okay. Joe stays the night. I think he, slept in a bed with her, but I don't think they had sex. But he slept in a bed with her, and I think they might have kissed. But he left the next day or whenever he left, okay? Robbie was watching. Robbie called Mitch and told Mitch what was going on. So after he left, one morning she gets up, goes to the bathroom. Shit feels weird. Then, as soon as she relaxes and thinks that everything is cool, he pops up in her damn hallway talking about, I want you back, Slim. It'll be just like it was. She's like, no, nigga, are you crazy? Then he starts throwing her around, is trying to get her in a headlock, and keeps saying how you had that guy over here. You know, see, if no one, he's like, if I can't have you, no one can. So he has her in a headlock. At this point, of course, Gracie has woken up and sees what's going on. At first, Gracie was standing there scared and shocked. But then what did she do? Like most little girls, bro, you bust into action, okay? You burst into action. She runs over, grabs her dad by the damn head, by the head. Daddy, stop. He won't stop, but she getting him, right? She pulling him. Okay, them little kids be strong as fuck when they feel like it. She pulling him, and he takes one arm off of Slim and pushes the baby. Okay, the baby falls and starts to cry. At this moment, Slim can use the bracelet. She got a bracelet on that has mace in it. So she was able to spray his ass. And so while he's all discombobulated, she grabs Gracie, picks Gracie up, runs outside, employs a booby trap that she has that puts a block on her door so he can't come out. She gets in her car, speeds off. You think she got away, but Robbie was sitting down the street in his car. And so he follows her. She goes to a location that's kind of hidden so that she can put clothes on, you know what I'm saying? Because they ran out the house in their pajamas and they had a bag in a car. So she gives Gracie, she's like, here, put this on. She's putting clothes on. This nigga comes, he gets out of his car, Robbie, and knocks on her window. And it all comes rushing back and she recognizes him. He tries to open up the door and she locks the door and then she pulls off. Now she's already orchestrated a plan to get away. So she went down, basically it was kind of like a street that was blocked off by fences, but she knew she could get down that street. She's in a car, he's in an SUV. So when she drove like through the gate, there was something like a big piece of metal or something like that was stopping his SUV from going through. So she went through and got through because her car was low. His SUV ended up crashing into it. I guess he didn't see it, but it crashed into it. And then, he ended up getting in a car accident and shit. And she was able to get away. She goes to another car that has duffel bags in it, a new license, money, what she needs to move. So now we see that Slim got plans and everything to make sure that she gets away, which I thought was so smart. And I really, really appreciated this part of the damn movie. Okay. Child, when he was ramming the back of her car with the fucking baby inside, that shit had me so mad because I was like, yeah, your homeboy don't even give a fuck about your kid because she could have flew off the damn road and they all could have died. Nobody cares, right? As long as you stop her from getting away. So she asked Gracie while they're in the car, and y'all, Gracie is just sitting there like gone. Okay? Recognize this. She says, Gracie, do you want me to tell you what happened? Gracie says no. Slim tells her, okay, Erin and Queen Elizabeth are over. They stop for food. She goes to see a lawyer named Toller. Yeah, Toller. Shout out to Judge Lynn Toller. Okay. But she goes to see Toller, a lawyer whose number she got from a woman named Millie who worked down at the diner where they stopped to get something to eat. Because she's wearing an abuse victim wig, child. Whenever you wearing a bad wig with your little girl looking over your shoulder, the waitresses have seen it all before. Okay. So he tells her that she ignored her chances to file a complaint. She had 2 opportunities to go to the police and file a police report, and she didn't take it. So she basically screwed herself. She has to go to court soon. And Tola tells her in all good conscience, I have to tell you that your attacker has a good chance of gaining sole custody. And it's a trick. The hearing is a trick. it's a way for him to get her in a place where he knows where she is so he can have her men follow her and kill her. I don't think she realized that that was the plan. But once the lawyer told her, gave her that little bit of information, she said, okay. So she formulates a plan. She sends Gracie to stay with Jenny. They have to go through a whole obstacle course in order for her to pick the little girl up. Gracie is angry with her mom. And when they're getting in the car, Gracie is like refusing to look at her mom when she says goodbye. But when she walks away, she looks. You know what I mean? Y'all, oh my God, this fucking movie was so triggering because I just remember having all of these types of feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, really scared a lot of the times of my mom leaving me when I was around that age. So he can't hurt her even though he's bigger, right? So Slim goes to take the self-defense class, right? This is one of our favorite parts of the damn movie, girl, okay? She getting the self-defense classes. I really want to take self-defense classes. Like, I'm going to put that, I'm going to manifest making that happen. Because I want to learn how to beat somebody's ass like that. Or at least to, you know what I'm saying, being able to counteract if somebody try to do something to me. I'm little, you know what I'm saying? And people don't like me. So I need to be able to defend myself if ever somebody try to walk up on me and I don't have my gun. Okay? Like, bitch, I need, whoa, bow. You know what I'm saying? I need to be able to flip your ass over my shoulder. Okay? Yes, I know, Krav Maga. I wanted to take it, but at the time it was so damn expensive. And the place that used to do it, they don't do it anymore. I have to find me somebody I really like so that they can do the self-defense. Because I want to learn how to, I want to learn how to defend myself, more than I already do. I want to know how to take down a big ass man. Okay. You ain't about to be using your size to tower over me, motherfucker. Okay. But anyway, so she takes the defense class. He says he can't hurt you even though he's bigger and stronger. He teaches her how to get out of that chokehold by putting her arm up and turning, like, you got it like this. And so, you put your arm up and you turn, which kind of breaks his, his grip, drops his hand, grab his hand, bop, bop, bop. You know what I'm saying? You get him, get out that fucking chokehold. That was a vital lesson right there, y'all. Ain't nobody gonna ever be able to put me in a chokehold without me remembering how she put that fucking arm up and turned around. Like, bitch, I'm gonna employ that shit, okay? If I ever get put in that situation, all right? Then he tells her the hardest lesson. And y'all, this right here, I need y'all to hear because it's something that translates in different areas of life. He says, we can't control the universe. We can bend it to our will, but it can only go so far. Just as sure as he is a coward, he will try to kick you. But because you know what he will do, you're smiling on the inside. Child. It's something to have a big man towering over you and kick at you while you're on the ground. This movie is triggering. Y'all, I'm laughing, but like one of the most traumatic experiences in my fucking life was when something like that happened to me when I was like 12 or 13. He was real mad at me because I wasn't moving fast enough for him. And when you hit somebody hard enough to knock them down, do you really need to like follow them and then kick at them? Like, went to kick me and stopped just short of connecting with me. Yeah, grown man. So she goes to Jupiter. Jupiter, deadbeat dad, hooked her up with the guy that gave her the self-defense classes. And he was like, he teach you how to think? And she was like, I hope so. And she lets him know her plan. I need you to give me a decoy that looks like me to meet me at a place at a time. You know what I'm saying? Hands him the address. He's going to get her the decoy. He's actually really proud of her because she's proven how smart she is, and he gives her info on Mitch's new place where he's staying at the marina. She tells him at some point, not now because it would be fake, I'm going to need you to acknowledge that I'm your kid. And he smirks. Okay. So, impressed by her, but still, it's fuck that nigga. Like, thank you. This is the least you can do. Okay. So Slim calls Mitch's mom and gives her the info on her to pass along to Mitch, right? Basically just telling her that, oh, I'm going to go and pick Gracie up in San Francisco. And then we're going to go to meet Mitch at the hearing, right? That's the idea. So Mitch getting that information from his mom, he had employed a plan to go and get Gracie and do whatever he was going to do to Slim before the hearing. So he was going to go to San Francisco because that's where Slim told his mom she would be to go and get Gracie. So he was going to go and get Gracie and kill Slim in San Francisco. But Slim got to him first. Okay. She switched with the decoy because she was being followed around San Francisco. And she gets on a plane back to where Mitch is. Okay. She breaks into Mitch's apartment while he's laid up with some woman. He thought he heard something. He got up in the middle of the night, kind of looked around, but he didn't see anything. He goes back to sleep. The next morning, he sends the one night stand on her way. And then as soon as the door closes, he calls his girlfriend, Lucy. Child, Slim was up there listening to all of this. He told her he's working late, but he's going to San Francisco to get his daughter. Who knows if his crazy ex will even show up to court this time? He's basically setting it up to make it seem as if Slim is so, Slim's a drug addict. We don't know if she's just in the wind. He's basically making everybody think that Slim is a drug addict that's dragging her daughter all over the country so he can't get custody of her. When really, no, she's running from you because you keep trying to kill her. So yeah, but that's what he's telling his little girlfriend. He leaves. Slim jumps downstairs with her duffel bag so she can set everything up. But she goes to the coffee maker and she turns the coffee maker off and goes to pour herself a cup of coffee. But he comes back inside, so she has to hide. He realized he forgot to turn the coffee maker off, which is something he always did. So he looks around the apartment, doesn't see anything, and then rushes off to work. Okay, thank God. So she's able to set everything up and lay everything out while he's at work. She finds all of his guns, gets rid of all the knives. She puts up like a little contraption to kill the reception in his house. And then she starts learning the layout before he gets home. When he gets home, he can tell that someone is there. She says, "It's me." He said, "Yeah." And this morning, she said, "You always did forget to turn the coffee off." He goes for the gun. She tells him that she saw the gun. She got the gun. She moved the gun. The guns ain't there. She tells him he can run if he wants to. Go ahead, run. But y'all know he's not going to run because he's a man. Delusional. Once he realizes she removed his guns, he tries to call for help, but there's no reception. She reveals herself to him in the kitchen. Well, I guess when he was going looking for knives, okay? And says, "This is what you wanted, right? This is what you was going to San Francisco for, to get me alone? Okay? You was looking for me. Here I go. Okay?" And he was like, "What's this, Slim? What's this? What are you gonna, I don't get it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna fight me man to man?" She said, "Woman, Mitch." Okay, she got her hands up. She ready. Okay. He says, "Yeah, man against woman. You sure that's fair?" She said, "Fair to whom?" He says, "He can't do this. This is ridiculous." She says, "You could hit me before, though, when I was defenseless." Bop, bop, slapping the fuck out of him, right? She quick moving with that shit. Bop, bop. You know what I'm saying? I was loving it. Okay. I was loving it. Okay. You could hit her before when she was weak and defenseless and she wasn't expecting it. You're like, "You so much of a coward. You can only hit me when I'm not expecting it, huh?" He punches at her like he went to turn around and child all slow and shit. Okay, tries to punch her, but she already leaned away. So he punched her arm. They were on the top level and she's learned the layout. So she slid under the banister and jumped down to the first floor. Come on. Now we got space and opportunity. Okay. Do you want some of this? All right. So he is coming downstairs and he's, with the condescending. Ain't it funny how niggas will be condescending to the absolute end? Like, you're just so delusional and so full of your fucking self. Your ego's so huge, you can't even really realize what's happening. Okay. He's like, I don't get this, Slim. Like, what are you getting out of this? Okay. And as soon as he walks down the stairwell, she punched him in the face again. That shit was funny. Okay. So he come get some. Okay, come get some, Nick. Okay. He says, you're not gonna murder me. So all you've done is further piss me off. She punches him again and says, it says self-defense is not murder. He says that she doesn't have the guts. He bleeding and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because she been fucking him up this whole time. All of these quick little hits like he used to do her. All right. He's throwing punches and she's dodging them and punching his ass. And like the trainer told her, it takes just as much energy. It takes more energy to swing and miss than to swing and connect. So all of that swinging he doing is still tiring his ass out. He says she really thinks she's going to kill him and get away with it. Okay. She said, self-defense is not murder. As I stated in our letters, I came to talk about Gracie. You attacked me, I fought back. He says, what letters? The ones that were in your drawer where the gun was? You just put all your prints all over them. Okay, the plan, y'all. The plan is coming together. Okay. So he didn't put his hand all over the letters so she can prove that they had correspondence. He knew she was coming, all of that type of shit, right? She kicked him in the face. Oh, he bleeds. Because at some point in your mind, when men are abusive, when they're controlling, when they're big like this, you see them as so much bigger and stronger than you. You see yourself as weak, and you kind of make them superhuman in your mind. So when he bled, that's why she was like, he bleeds. You know what I'm saying? Like shock almost, because he thinks he's superhuman, like he wasn't about to get his ass kicked. And she thought that at one point too. She says, I'm confused, Mitch. Aren't you a man? Can't you hit me again at least once? And he charges at her this time and he chokes her, but she knows how to get out of it. Arm up, turns around, bop, 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 like knocked his ass off. Okay. Was tuning that nigga. He was getting together. He tries to come at her and he ends up falling and hitting his head, right? So she thinks that, he down, right? She picked up this glass and she was about to jam it down on his head. She was like, ah! She couldn't do it. She throw it. Once again, more in your heart than in your head. More in your heart than in your head. Okay? You got to be in your head. Women have got to get out of their hearts. They have got to get out of here. Get out your fucking emotions. Use your brain. You have to kill this nigga because he's going to kill you. It's you or him, bitch. Okay? But she takes this moment to punk out. She turns the thing off that was stopping the reception. She calls Jenny. She's like, Shay, I can't do it. I'm not like him. I'm not a killer. I can't do it. With her fucking back to him. Bitch, that was a huge red flag. A mistake for you to put your back to him. You should have been looking at him while you was on the phone with Jenny crying about not being able to kill his punk ass. Okay? But anyway, he comes behind her with a lamp. Knocks her ass down. Okay, she's supposed to be knocked out, right? So she didn't fell to the ground. Okay, then she hears us to hold on to my voice. Just as you know he's a coward, he will try to kick you. Okay, and that's exactly what he does. He goes to kick her. She grabs his foot, trips him up. Okay, then roundhouse kicks his ass off of that damn balcony. And I say roundhouse because it was like he was fucked up. She had him against the ropes. And she did the final bow, kicked his ass. He falls down over the balcony, down onto the coffee table that was glass and metal. Okay, hit all of this back shit. He's dead. He's gone. He's out of there. He's not going to be in enough too. Okay, so he dead. She take her duffel bag full of everything that she set up, the little thing that stopped the reception, whatever else she brought with her, throws the duffel bag into the water because he stayed at the marina, threw that shit in the water, then went and wait for the police because Jenny called the police. All right. So she's sitting there waiting and the police come and he says, Is he down? He's out? She was like, yeah, he ain't gonna hurt nobody. And the police says to her, you're one of the lucky ones. One of the lucky ones. Had he done this to other women, or was that a general statement about women who get abused, being one of the lucky ones to get out of the situation? Like, it really should make you see how the police, the whole system does not help victims. It does not favor the victim. It does not favor the mother if the father has enough money. It doesn't. Okay? So, I mean, honestly, I feel like the system only favors the mother when it comes to giving the children to the mother, because depending on the age of the children are like physically dependent upon mother sometimes, breastfeeding, those things. But also most men don't want to take care of their children. And the court system knows that most men don't want to be primarily responsible for their children, because before the divorce, most men are not primarily responsible for their children in the household. Most men know that. And I think it goes to giving the mothers the children. The mothers want the children. So you think that, the system is working for the mother. But no, the system knows that most men don't want the kid. It just so happens that the mother wants the kid, and that goes in her favor. But he don't want the kid. So it's usually in his best interest for them to give the child to the mother. They just don't want to have to pay all of the fucking money to pay for them not being a primary parent and the child having to be with the mother most of the time, meaning that you have to give money in order to make up for your lack of appearance as a parent. And the fact that you're not the household whose energy, water, and food is being sucked up by the extra person all the time. So yeah, child, she got out, she got her baby. Happy ending to the story. But girl, she made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I hope she learned. Y'all know she went back to Joe because she had a thing for Joe. And she said Joe was the last time she felt safe. And I was just kind of like, you could tell that her being with Mitch was a trauma response. I think when women are abused or they've been abandoned in some way, they seek safety. But a lot of the times the safety will turn out to be a friend for whatever reason. But for me, I feel like what I ended up doing was, because I had a friend that made me feel safe. Okay, shout out to Jared. But that kind of led me to how I chose my husband, because my husband was also a friend that made me feel safe. And that made me feel like I could be closer and I can, what I'm saying? I could really let myself allow this person in, because I need to feel safe, because I really know what men who perpetrate like they're safe, but they aren't really. I know what that looks like. I know what it looks like. I grew up with it. I know what unsafe men look like. I know what it looks like when a man is trying to control something on the inside. So he is the strong but silent type, but there's an underlying intensity or something like that. And I'm going to tell y'all, my dad absolutely softened over the years, but not enough. And if he did not get sick, they would have probably got a divorce if he didn't get sick. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think they would have broke up at some point if he didn't get sick. And I think now my mother's perception is slightly skewed on the situation, because he did have such good qualities and shit. There are things to think about and miss. But what happens when a person dies is like a lot of their bad deeds kind of get erased or forgotten about, and all of the good qualities become more prominent. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool and everything. You know what I mean? But essentially, I feel like having an abusive or, angry parent really makes you hyper vigilant. And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Like most things, it's a catch-22. It helps you avoid dealing with crazy motherfuckers. It helps you, value peace earlier in your life. Because I definitely feel like I didn't want to fight and fuck for that much longer, because I had basically done that in my household, in my childhood, in my first relationships, even with women, were somewhat fight and fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because lesbians have to assert themselves. Studs had to assert themselves, had to be dominant. You know what I'm saying? So you end up kind of in those dynamics anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say, like, lyric was a space of intuition and feeling safe, because my trauma response was to be with people who were abusive in one way or another to me, people who didn't mind the fight and fuck. And Black people, like, I'm just saying, we really enjoy the fight and fuck. But when I tell y'all, by the time I got to 19, I was fucking exhausted and tired, and I did not want to be with somebody that I was going to have to fight with all the time, because I was tired by the time I was 19. Tired of fighting, tired of having arguments, tired of hearing people scream and holler. That's why, like, even when me and Lyric have arguments or get into it, we don't scream at each other. We don't get to a certain level. It's a conversation that might be like, oh yeah, like, that's how you feel, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? It might get heightened, but essentially, I am always in the mind space of keeping things at the most respectful level that I can be at with it, because I don't ever want it to get heightened. So we've done really good at respecting each other, even in conflict. And I think it's because both of us have in some ways dealt with that type of dynamic when we were kids, being yelled at, being verbally abused, you know what I'm saying, being cursed at, having our parents just unload onto us. We know what that's like. So we don't like to do that to each other. You feel me? But it is definitely it's definitely, you know, I really do be feeling like I did something good in a past life when it comes to me and him, because my trauma response was to pick people that would have continued to tire me out and have me in toxic, abusive relationships. I refuse to open my heart to anyone because I have a feeling that I always find someone much worse than my father. I'll be worse than my mother and be in love with him. Child. The victimization too. Yep, because anytime someone actually good has similar mannerisms to an abusive family member, I shut down. They weren't ever actually abusive, but it gave me PTSD and I'd ghost. And to be clear, abuse has varying levels to it. Don't always think that you were overreacting, because I don't think I was. Like, I don't give a fuck what anybody's talking about. Now that I'm older, I absolutely feel like whenever my intuition was working, you know, that this person wasn't safe, or I don't like this vibe and all of that, I trusted that feeling. And the older I get, the more I feel like you should trust that feeling, because it protects you. I think the feeling that I would have, like, you know, keeping people at a distance from me because of what I have been through, it protected me. It protected me. Thank you, Maggie, for the super chat. Now that's both following Tawana on TikTok. Child, who is that? Who is that? Child, I don't know. I be following people I don't be knowing. Black Butterfly, thank you so much for the super chat. It's amazing you're doing this movie about to sue my abusive ex for damaging my car. $2,300. My family trying to tell me to let it go. Been abused for 10 years. Enough is enough. Thank you. And yes, no, please press charges. Sue. Do whatever you got to do with the legalities. Family always wants you to just get over something, but fuck them, because they're not the ones that have to deal with the ramifications of it. Fuck what they got to say about it. Child, I'm not repeating the cycle, but I know people who are repeating the cycle. I know people who still have not figured out how to see an unsafe man. They're still attracted to what they see when they look at an unsafe man, and keep ending up in situations where shit ain't safe. Like, you ain't gotta teach me that lesson too many times, man. I'm good off that. Y'all, I'm 5'3". Just to give you a picture, I think my dad was about 6'2". Okay. So, like, I don't need to be in many more situations with niggas making me feel like I need to figure out how I'm gonna get out of this if this person tries to attack me. That's happened to me more than I would like to say. Thank you for confirming what I've been thinking and saying and more lately. No problem. I know what it does for me. When people validate what I feel to be true and know to be true, but everybody, you know, tries to convince you fucking tripping. Yeah, no, you're not tripping. Don't scream at me. Don't put your hands on me. Don't negate my feelings or tell me how to feel. Exactly. Exactly. Or flip it on you. That's another thing. When motherfuckers flip shit, you come to them with a real issue that you having with them, and they want to start flipping it on you like you do the same thing. Well, why you ain't complaining about that before I complained about you? You can't even hear what I'm saying. Child, why does it take so long to trust yourself? Because everything you will keep it a buck. Your religion and your school, your first examples, and plus whatever your environment is at home, all of those things teach you to ignore your intuition. So for instance, everything in religion, in church, in Christianity teaches you to ignore what you feel and know to be true so that you can have faith in something. Okay, like I'm gonna just keep it a buck. To me, real faith is, I'm doing YouTube. I'm not making as much money. My subscriber count is really slow, but I'm doing okay. I'm getting confirmation in small places that this is what I should keep doing. So I keep doing it. I keep pushing through, right? To me, that's faith, because I have things that are showing me that this is working for me. It's showing me I should keep doing it, even though it's not that easy. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I know that I'm getting some signs that I should keep doing this, right? That's faith. Religion teaches you that faith is you believe in something without picking it apart. It tells you not to pick anything apart, which tells you to ignore your intuition. It teaches you not to think about things critically, and it teaches you to ignore your feelings and listen to everybody else around you, which is how Slim even ended up in this situation. Instead of listening to her intuition, she listening to Jenny's thirsty ass. Okay, so it's the people around you, it's the indoctrination that happens in your school and in your church that teaches you to ignore your intuition. Because if you follow your intuition is God. A lot of people don't peep that, but your intuition is God. And if you stop listening to what's inside of you and you only listen to what's happening outside of yourself, you are unstable, you are insecure, and you are easily controlled and manipulated, which means whenever somebody puts something on your timeline, somebody puts something in a commercial, somebody puts something in a TV show, somebody put something in a movie, it makes you easily malleable. It sets you up to be manipulated easier. That's what it does. So, which is why I feel the way I feel about religion and anything that is teaching you to ignore knowledge. The very first story in the Bible tells you that the tree of knowledge is going against God. So seeking knowledge and understanding for yourself goes against God. That was one of the first things I recognized in Christianity when I was growing up. That was one of the first stories I was like, so I'm in school and y'all teaching me that knowledge is power, but I go to church and y'all tell me that the lady was punished because she ate from the tree of knowledge. Well, that don't make sense to me based on what I'm learning in school, that the more information I have, the better I am. That doesn't match, but I'm still going to church. My parents are still heavily involved in the church, Catholic church at that. You know what I'm saying? Well, that indoctrination is steady and consistent every Sunday. Okay. So I just, I paid attention. Plus your schooling, the way they teach you in school, like all of that is to like ignore the truth of situations and just be comfortable with what is being fed to you, what is being given to you. And a lot of times what's being fed to you and what's being given to you is intentionally being given to you and fed to you for whatever the greater purpose that you don't know about is. That's why I feel like I don't care what religion you are, you need to study it. You need to study it. You need to understand it. You need to pick it apart. It needs to make sense to you. If it doesn't, you need to let it go. I'm just saying. Yes, society conditions folks for abuse. Absolutely. It absolutely does. And you can tell because whenever somebody's being abused, there's always somebody telling you, girl, ignore them people. Stay with your man. Don't nobody know but you what go on in your household. What goes on in this household stays in this household. I can go through saying after saying after saying that tells you to just shut up and take abuse. That's what we're taught. What profit a person to gain the whole world and lose their soul? Child, use critical thinking. Main thing. But anyway, y'all, turn the other cheek. That's another one I don't like. That's another one. Y'all, I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in turn the other cheek. I believe in praying for your downfall if it needs to happen. Yep. From the parents to the religion to the laws. Yep. My mom broke the cycle by teaching and encouraging me to tell it. That's why I don't like when people be like, because girl, how many times I don't like when people just be telling on their family, man. I don't like when people do it. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. I don't give a fuck. Scream from the mountaintops. The truth shall set you free. I will always be the person that I don't care about somebody springing the truth. Y'all be more mad about the truth being put out there than the actual truth of the situation. And I will never be like that. Ever. Give it to God. Yeah, no. I want y'all to know that the people that run this world, the people that run, all of the people in the world who, the Illuminati and all of that, who y'all think run everything. Yeah, those people don't give it to God. Those people don't give it to God, y'all. That's why they have what they have, because they don't just give it to God. Okay? That whole mindset is to just let things be what they are and ignore them. And that's not what we should be doing if we're actually trying to have a better world, to have fairness, you know what I'm saying? To not be being abused in every way possible. You're abused in work. You're, you know what I'm saying? You're abused in the household. You're abused in churches. You know what I'm saying? People, you're abused all over the place. And then when we point out that you're being abused, that's not abuse. Yes, it is, bitch. Yes, it is. Look up the word. Okay. Listen, I love telling the truth of a situation. Baby, abusers steal your voice. Your voice equals your power. It's about breaking you as a person. And that was one thing about me, y'all. That was one thing about me. I would find a way to get my voice out. That's why I was always getting in trouble for talking so much at school. That's why my mom would let me run around her shop and just be, whatever I wanted to be when I was at the shop. Because everybody knows that when Brittany goes home, everybody knows that when she goes home, she won't be able to say it. She won't be able to be herself. She'll have to go in her room and be amongst herself. Child, let's not even get started to, what I'm saying, when my room did become my solace, how that was even taken away from me. But yeah, y'all, I'm trying to see if I missed any super chats and trying to mess up the throat chakra, source of power. Absolutely. Y'all, there is no feeling I know more than that lump in your throat from crying and trying to keep yourself from crying because you've been told by a parent that if you don't stop crying, they'll give you something to cry about, as if they hadn't already given you something to cry about, which is why you're crying. Yeah. Having to stop crying so that you don't get hit, that type of shit. Yeah, baby, that's abuse. That's abuse. I'm sorry. Laying there, Bondy child. They be tiring the fuck, man. Tiring the fuck out these kids. BondyBlue things, okay? There is a sermon to explain the tree a bit better for us, and it's TD Jakes hide and go seek a lot to the story. Nyla, don't trust nothing TD Jakes tells you, girl. And you can, to me, I feel like you can interpret the Bible however the fuck you want to, but the text says what it says. And that is the, the framework for a lot of what we deal with. But yeah, I'm gonna just let y'all know, right now, don't trust nothing TD Jakes tell y'all. A dead clock is right twice a day, but don't touch nothing. Don't trust nothing that man tell y'all, please. Okay. Listen, with love. Any nigga running a mega church cannot be trusted. Period. Any nigga running a mega church cannot be trusted. Period. Okay. But I appreciate your contribution to my review. But yeah, y'all, I gotta go. I gotta go because I got a massage at 3. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing it. I love y'all so much. It's one of my favorite series to do on my channel. Also, what I will be doing is I'm gonna be going through and cutting all of my now that we're growns up so that I can get them to at least, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe tops an hour, because I see that the 30-minute videos tend to work a little bit better on YouTube. So I'm going to go through and try to cut down as much of my now that we're growns as I can to make them, like a 30-minute video and then repost them up for everybody. I'll be doing that over however long it takes me to get that done. But I love you guys so much. I hope y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Share the video. And I'll see y'all probably on Monday. All right. Peace out.